Well, hello, welcome again to our reading of the Greek New Testament. We're reading the last chapter of Luke, that's chapter 24, and we're up to verse 13. This is the story of the walk to Emmaus, which is in Mark's Gospel but didn't get included in Matthew. Kai idu duo ek auton en aute te hemera es en paromenoi es kermen apikusan stadius hexaconta apohierosulem e onoma Emmaus. And behold, two ex auton from their company, literally from them, so from their company, on that day, on that very day, they were going into the village, Akome. Ap echo means to be distant from, and it's often used impersonally or just with the meaning to be distant from. So being distant from Jerusalem about 60 stades. The name for which is Emmaus, and it's feminine agreeing with Kome, of course. Kai autoi homilun pros elelus peripanton ton sum bebe coton tuton. And they, this is from homilio, a good classical word. It means to talk or converse, to keep company with. So they were conversing with one another, peripanton, regarding all these things that had taken place. And we get here a perfect participle from sumbino. Sumbino is often used impersonally in the sense of it happened, it took place. So you often get sumbine used impersonally. Here we're getting the perfect participle formed from that. So the things which had taken place. Kai ageneto ento homilein autus kai sunt seten kai autus Jesus engisa sun eporuete autois. And it came to pass, and we get n plus articular infinitive again, the subject in the accusative. So while they were talking or conversing, it's that homilio verb again, and sutsatio is to discuss or debate. So they were debating, and we get this funny use of kai here, which is you wouldn't expect that in usual Greek. And Jesus himself, engisas, from aorist participle from engisdo, having drawn near, he began to walk with them. Sun paruamai, and it's imperfect. So he began to walk with them. Hoide ophthalmoi auton ekratunto tu me epignonai auton. And their eyes, now this is a passive here, imperfect passive from kratio. Kratio means to rule, but in the passive here it can mean were held back from. And then it's taking an articular infinitive, and we get the so-called redundant may here. After verbs of preventing, you often get this may, which you don't really translate. It's translated as from. So they were prevented from recognizing him, from infinitive from epiginosko. So their eyes were prevented from recognizing him, or if you like, were held back from recognizing him. Apen de prosautus tines hoi logoi hutoi hus antibalati proselelus peri patuntes question kai estathesan skutropoi. And he said to them, what are these words? Hus, which, antibalata, well, it's a bit like our tossing back and forth. That's what it literally is, which you are tossing back and forth between one another, or to one another, peripatuntes, as you're walking along. Kai Esther their son, and they stood skuthropoi. This is a good classical word. It's a combination of skuthros and opes, the face. So being miserable in their face, so downcast, it's often translated as depressed, miserable. So they stood there downcast, we could say. Apokrythes dehes omati kleopas apen prosauton. Su monos perioikes hierosolem kai uk egnos ta genomina en aute entais hemerais tautais. And one, Cleopas by name, having answered, he said to him, and we get a question here, now the verb here is paroikio, which is a good Septuagint word meaning to sojourn, to spend time in. So have you alone been living in Jerusalem, and you do not know, this is egnos, second person from gnosko, the things having happened in it, that is in Jerusalem, which is feminine, in these days. Kai apenautois poia. And he said to them, what sort of things? Hoide epan auto, and they said to him, ta peri Jesu tu Nazarenu, hos egeneto aner prophetes dunamos en erge kai logo en antion tu theou kai pantos tu lau. So he says, what sort of things? And they said to him, the things regarding Jesus Jesus the Nazarene, Jesus from Nazareth, who was a man who was a prophet, a mighty prophet. So a man who was a mighty prophet both in work, both in deed and in word, before God and before all the people. Hopos de per edo kenauton hoi hier achires kai hoi acontes hemon es crima thanatu kai estaurosan auton. So it's just up the verb of knowing. Did you not know how the chief priests and the rulers, so it's our chief priests and rulers, handed him over as crima to a sentence of death, and how they crucified him. Hemes de eilpidzomen hodiautos estin homelon lutrustai ton Israel. We were hoping, from El Pizdo, so we were hoping that he is the one being about, this is from Lutrustai, to redeem Israel, to ransom Israel. So we were believing, or we were hoping, that he is the one who was about to ransom or redeem Israel. Allegekai sun passin tutois tritain, unfortunately goes to the next page here. Allege, this particular combination of particles is only here in the New Testament. But it means something like, but at any rate, for the get here. We should always enjoy particles when we see them in New Testament Greek. They're not that common, and they do give important flavour to the sentence. So, but at any rate, sun passin tutois, literally among or with all these things, we would say beside all this, so it's almost in addition to all this, although you would have expected epi here, and he's put sun. So, but at any rate, in addition to all of these things, tritain tautan hemeran age af hu tauta egeneto. Now the age here I think is used probably impersonally Literally, it progresses to this the third day. So we would say it is now the third day, but the Greek says it leads, or it progresses now to the third day, aphu, from the time when, so you have to supply chrono, so since tauta, these things, egenetai, took place. And here we do have neuter plural singular verb. Alakai gunaikis tines ex hemon, ex estes en hemas, genomenoi orthrinai epitomene meon. But also certain women from our group, ex hemon, from amongst us, they shocked us, they amazed us, from ex systemi, they amazed us, literally having become morning women, in the sense of, or dawn women, might be better. This is the way Greek often does this. It'll put the so in English we'd say having gone at dawn to the tomb. The Greek says being dawn women to the tomb. It simply puts the adjective along with the noun, understood, the women, and rather than using it as an adverb here. Anyway, so having gone at the dawn to the tomb is how you translate it. But that actually is typical good. It's quite good classical Greek to do this kind of construction. Kai me hierusai tos soma autu elthon legusai kai optasian angelon hero kenai hoi legusin auton sein. And feminine participle here, aorist feminine participle from heurisco. And they, not having found his body, they came, another feminine participle, saying that also, hero kenai, this is the perfect from horao, that they had seen an optasian, a vision, angelon, of angels. They had seen a vision of angels who are saying him, that is Jesus, saying to live, that say that he is alive. Kai ap elthon tines tone sun hemin epitomene meon to huron hutos kathos kai hegenikos epon auton de uk adon. And certain of those with us went back, I should say, to the tomb, and they found it thus, kathos, just as also the women said. So they found it just as the women had said, but they did not see him. Kai autos apen pros autus, o anoetai kai brades te cardia tu pistuen epipasin hois elalesin hoi prophetai. And he said to them, O ignorant ones, this is alpha provative plus this noos root with mindless, so O ignorant ones, and slow, this is from bradus, is a third declension adjective, slow, bradus, and slow in heart, 2 plus infinitive, so as to believe, and then we get epi after pistuo, one of the many ways of saying to believe in. You can say pistuo plus the dative, or with in, or with epi, or with ace. So this is with epi. O ignorant ones, and slow in heart, so as to believe in all the things which, it's got attracted into the dative, the prophets said. Uki tauta ede pathain to Christon kai eselthen esten doxan autu. So it's a question expecting the answer yes. Was it not necessary, past tense from day, for the Messiah to suffer these things and to enter into his glory? Kai examenos apomousios kai apopanton ton propheton, dihermenusen autois en passais tais graphais ta perihiautu. And having begun from Archimai, from Moses, and from all the prophets, he interpreted for them, from de hermenuo here, so he expounded to them, literally in all the writings, the things concerning himself. So this is from de hermenuo, is to interpret, and de hermenuo is to sort of go through and interpret. So interpreting them, the things regarding himself in all the writings, in all the scriptures. Kai angesen esten komein hu eperonto, kai autos pros epoiesato poroteron poroestai. And they drew near from Engisdo into the village where they were going. Now this is this use of who here, meaning where, which is good classical usage. It's an old ablative, in fact, so from the definite article, that means where. So that, and they drew near into the village where they were going, and he himself, pros epoiesato. This is from pros poio. This is in the middle here. It's to make as if. So, in other words, he intended, or he gave the impression that he was going to go poroteron, comparative here, from poro, further on. So he himself made as if to go, to continue on his journey, to go further on. Kai parabiasan to auton legontes menon methemon, hoti pros hesperon esti kai teklinin ede hemera. This is from parabiasdamai, in the middle. So they pressed him. It does contain this bia, meaning force, but they would say almost pressured him, saying, remain with us, imperative here from Meno, aorist imperative, remain with us, because it is pros hesperon, it is towards the evening, kai ede, and now the day, keklinen, from klino, has declined, we'd say, the day is drawing to an end, perhaps. This is the perfect here from klino. Kai aselthon, and he entered in so as to remain with them. Kai ageneto ento kataklithenai, auton met auton labon ton arton eulogesen kai klassas epididu autois. And it came to pass that when he was reclining from Cataklino with them, Labone, from Lambano, having taken the bread, he gave thanks, from Eulogio, he blessed it, not gave thanks, that's Eucharistio. Eulogio, he blessed it, and klassas, from klao, having broken it, edidu autois, he distributed it to them, so he gave it to them. He distributes, probably good here, among them. Auton de enothersen ahoi ophthalmoi kai epignos san auton kai autos aphantos egeneto ap auton. And the eyes, auton, of them were opened. Now this is from dia anoigo. This is the aorist passive here. Anoigo is a verb which gets badly handled even in classical times. Anoigo was originally a compound of ana plus oignumi originally, and then it becomes just becomes oigo. It gets regularized. And typically they augment the alpha in the ana rather than the oi. Sometimes you get double or even triple augments of this particular verb. Here there is just augmenting the alpha in the anoigo, but it was originally a compound. You do get oignumi in poetry in earlier Greek, but only ever in compounds afterwards. Anyway, so their eyes were opened, kai epignosan, and they recognized him from epiginosko, and he himself became literally invisible from them. So he disappeared from them. This is from alpha privative plus the fine root of appearing. So he disappeared from them. Kai epan pros elelus uki hekadia hemon kaimenon en humin hos elale hemin en tehodo hos di enoigen hemin tas graphas. That's a question here. And they said to one another, we get a question expecting the answer yes, surely our hearts were burning, so we get a periphrastic imperfect here, construction, so they were burning from Kaio, and then in brackets, in us. Hos elale, when he was speaking, Hamin to us, and to Hodo on the road, and how he literally opened up the scriptures for us, or to us. Again, this is de anoigo. And how he opened up the scriptures for us. Kai anastantes aute te hora, and having stood up on that very hour, hupestrepson es hierosolem, kai huron ethrois menus tus hendeca kai tus sonautois. And yeah, so having got up on that hour, they returned to Jerusalem from Strepho, and they found the 11 and those with them, athroismenos. This is from athroisdo. If you're looking this up, this is an alpha here, from athroisdo, to gather, and this is being gathered, being collected. So having been gathered together, legontes hoti ontos egethe hokurios kai ophthei simoni kai autoi ex egun ta enter hodo kai hos egnosthei autois enter classe to artu. Having said that, the Lord, ontos is an adverb form from the verb to be, truly has been raised, and he was seen by Simon, or perhaps has appeared to Simon. You often get the aorist passive of this verb from horao, simply used in the sense of to appear. So he appeared to Simon, perhaps rather than was seen. If it was seen by Simon, you would expect a hupot plus the genitive here. So perhaps he appeared to Simon. That's a good Septuagintal use. And they themselves then related from ex hegeomai, to relate, and the ex makes it related in detail, the things on the road and how he was made known. This is a passive from ginosko, aorist passive. He was made known to them, ente classe. This is from classis, third declension noun. We saw that verb earlier, when he broke the bread. It's the same root. Klao is the verb, classis is the breaking. So in the breaking of the bread. And that is the next section then of chapter 24.